Zakaria alayhi salam was like the leader of his people at that time. So he was really not quite confident about who he's leaving the legacy of prophethood to. So he didn't have a son, so he could train the son, and he had seen the condition, the deteriorating condition of Bani Israel. So he wasn't quite, sure the legacies that he is going to leave behind to these people, are they even worth it, or they've already shown signs of corruption. But he has a problem now. He says, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. I fear my successors after me. But the problem is that my wife, she is not, she's incapable of giving birth. And فَهَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. So give from yourself, as in he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from yourself, give me an heir from yourself, like a child, as a gift from yourself. In the sense, this is the problem. She is aqir. Aqir is not barren, but it's just that she cannot conceive, she cannot have a child. And he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the problem, and if you were to give it to me as a gift from yourself, a child from yourself. So the point I wanted to make here is that after all of this, background that I've given you about, how he is asking for a dua. Now a person asks for a dua, and you've been asking for such a long time, and you want this particular thing, and you ask and you ask and you ask. If the iman is not strong, if the faith is not strong, you actually lose hope, and you're like, it's never gonna happen, or maybe it's not good for me, that's another part of like a weakness of iman. I'll just stop praying because I'm just too tired of it, or whatever. But here Zakaria alayhi salam, he says very blatantly, very clearly, that he has become old. That means since he was married, maybe, I don't know, from the age of 20 plus, till he's reached a stage where his bones have weakened, his head has completely become white, he's still asking for the same thing. He doesn't give up. It could be anything. People have different things in life to ask for. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has delayed this response till he reaches that age. I want to discuss why that happens. I want to discuss the actual, way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works when he answers our duas. How it all happens. Yes, of course, we all know that whatever Allah does, jo Allah karte hain, wo hamare liye acha hi hota hai. Everyone knows that, and everyone sometimes says that out of habit, or just because the thing is not happening, so this is the last thing that you can say, maybe it's not good for me. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this huge gap, this huge lifetime of Zakaria alayhi salam praying to Allah with complete conviction, with never being turned down from anything else other than this dua. So he, never in his mind did he think, why is Allah not giving me something that I'm asking for? The answer actually lies not in this surah, it lies in Surah Al Imran, that is the third surah, 39th ayat, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now gives him the glad tidings of a son. Mind you, he is very old, like I said, very weak, and his wife is completely incapable of having a child. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them this amazing, beautiful gift of a child miraculously. It's no more less than a miracle for a couple that old and then incapable of having children to have a child. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed Allah gives you good tidings of Yahya, John, confirming a word from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is chapter 3, ayat 39. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually gives us the reason why there was this gap or this delay in the dua of Zakaria alayhi salam, for which there is a lesson for us to think that if whatever I'm asking for is being delayed, that is for a completely most wise decision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, completely amazing and merciful will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for me, for you. And that only depends on the on the level of the closeness you have with your Lord. That only depends on the level of like a beautiful relationship that you have with your Lord, or the level of iman and trust and reliance you have with your Lord. You see, these things are not categorized by the university that you've studied in, or maybe the Darul Uloom that you've studied, or you've studied in the Medina University. No, you could have the most closest of relationships with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could be His wali, you could be His really close beloved servant, and you would be just a nobody in the world. Nobody knows you, nobody cares about you, nobody even thinks you have any sort of knowledge about Him. That is a part of the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here is that His child had a reason, His child had a purpose to come into this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored the parents with Yahya alayhi salam, making him someone who confirms the word of Allah. Who is the word of Allah? That is Isa alayhi salam. Now you have to understand, Zakaria alayhi salam and Maryam alayhi salam. Maryam alayhi salam, when she conceived Isa alayhi salam, the scholars say she was 12 years old or 14 years old, or really young. And Zakaria alayhi salam is really old, really old. The purpose behind this delay was out of the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah wanted to bless Zakaria alayhi salam with the most amazing child who would not only be a leader for the Bani Israel, no, he would actually serve as the sole person amongst the whole Bani Israel to actually recognize Isa alayhi salam and say, this is the Messiah that you've been waiting for. And nobody would actually, be at that level. That's why even in the Samawat, Isa alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam are together. In the sense, one has to understand, if there is a delay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a bigger, a better, a more beautiful plan for us. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the most beautiful plan for Zakaria alayhi salam, where He made him wait. Because you see, Maryam alayhi salam has to grow. Maryam alayhi salam has to reach that stage, that age, that level in her iman where she can actually take this huge responsibility of being a mother to the Messiah, the promised Messiah. So no random woman could have been chosen. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises her and says she is a Siddiqa. Siddiqa is like a level below the prophets. That means she is the highest, and of course the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us she is the best amongst womankind. Because of the level that she reached with her Lord. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses His servants, the ones who are closest to Him, with rewards which are completely unconceivable. You can't even think about, like, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bless someone with a huge gift? And our perception of life is so narrow-minded. We just think that a gift is maybe a nice job, or maybe a lottery, or maybe some sort of a happiness, or maybe a child, or maybe a business promotion, or a career promotion, or whatever it is. Our money, our perception of life is very narrow-minded. This is how we gauge success as. But if you open your eyes and you actually liberate yourself from the shackles of this materialistic world where everything is gauged by monetary benefits or monetary gains, then only do you realize that the best gift of actually the best thing that this world can actually give to anyone is the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah chooses X, Y, Z to be a beloved servant of His, So the point of this video was basically that when we ask for a certain thing, we have to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates the means for it, because a premature fruit is as tasteless and as a waste of time than not even eating it. It was better if I didn't, dirty my mouth with this disgusting taste of a premature fruit. The fruit has to mature, has to become a beautiful, red color or whatever color it has to have that perfect taste for us to enjoy it. And that is all over the world. You see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the world, He put signs in it for us to see. The flower, when it's in its bud, it looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look even nice because you can't see the beautiful colors blooming out. But when the flower opens up, that's when it reveals its beauty. But that requires time, that requires patience for the sower who has to wait till it opens up. A beautiful example from the seerah of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the hijrah to Medina. Now the hijrah to Medina is a beautiful, beautiful lesson for us to know and to understand that when a person waits and when a person has patience, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him like the best thing in the world, the best reward.